Hey Internet, Eric here again. I am here with a movie review per request, my friend Mel. Now, my friend Mel and I have been friends, God, since the MySpace days. And if you're old enough to know what MySpace is, or have participated in MySpace, it tells you how fucking long we've known each other. And I don't exactly remember how we met, or if it was like in a MySpace chat or something. But, we've been friends forever. We share a love of cheesy movies, we share a love of horror movies, and a love of Crispin Glover. So speaking of cheesy and horror, or horror comedy, she asked me to review one of her favorite movies growing up, My Boyfriend's Back. Alright, now, you probably haven't heard of this movie. And, you know what, alright, there you go. There's a lot of people that haven't. My Boyfriend's Back came out in '93, and it's from Touchstone Pictures. If you know Touchstone Pictures, they're the ones who have produced and distributed like Dick Tracy and Sister Act and some Ernest movies. I know they did a lot of Pauly Shore stuff, House Guest with Sinbad and Phil Hartman. So I do remember seeing the trailer for this film, probably in front of one of those while I rented on VHS. VHS, that shows you how old and how long it's been for this movie. Now, came out in '93, directed by Bob Balaban. Don't know. First off, I didn't know what to think. I watched the trailer and I knew this could either be cheesy fun or I want to put a bullet in my fucking brain. But she asked me to review it, so I said I would. First off, when I saw the cast and the people behind this, I was very, very intrigued. Because here, it's written by Dean Lorey, who wrote one of my favorite Friday the 13th films, Jason Goes to Hell. It's produced by Sean Cunningham, who directed the original Friday the 13th. The music was done by Harry Manfredini, who's done the score for, God knows, maybe all of them, the Friday the 13th films. And then the cast here is very surprising. I mean, our main character, Johnny, is played by Andrew Lowry. I don't fucking know. I've seen him he plays one of the dorky friends in the Buffy the Vampire Slayer movie with Christy Swanson. Edward Herrmann is in this from The Lost Boys and Gilmore Girls, whatever. Fucking Cloris Leachman is in this. Matthew McConaughey is in it for 10 seconds. I guess Renee Zellweger was in this in a deleted scene. And Academy Award winning actor Philip Seymour Hoffman is in this film. Yes. Now, the main plot of this is we follow Johnny Dingle, and he is in love with Missy McLeod, and he's been in love with Missy McLeod since the fucking first grade. And eventually, we see that, and then eventually we go to, it's the senior prom. He's trying to get up enough guts to ask Missy to the senior prom. And he and his buddy Eddie, who's played by Danny Zorn. I don't know who the fuck Danny Zorn is, but you know what, dude? You're funny. I loved you in this film, and I wonder where the hell you've been. Or if you've been in anything that I didn't even know who you were. I'm going to go to IMDb, and I'm going to find you, and hopefully you've been in a movie that I can watch, because you here were fantastic. You were hilarious. Anyways, Johnny and Eddie are going to fake a robbery at a convenience store that Missy works at. Johnny plans to win her heart, and then take her to the prom, blah, blah, blah. However, this convenience store is actually really robbed, and Johnny is shot and killed by diving in front of a bullet that was going to hit Missy. Now, I believe it's the next day, or within the next couple days, Johnny digs himself out of his grave and goes home like it's just another day. He knows he's been shot and killed, he knows he's a zombie, and it doesn't affect him. And it doesn't affect his parents or anyone else in town. Okay. And eventually, we follow Johnny, still trying to get Missy to go with him to the prom. We have some side stories with Johnny goes to the family doctor, and the doctor knows he's a zombie, and he takes a skin sample, and eventually we find out that the doctor has his own ideas. He's going to try to create through Johnny's skin cells a type of plastic surgery that just keeps people young. It's plastic surgery without the surgery, is what he says. To stay alive, Johnny must eat human flesh. And so we have to deal with Johnny dealing with that to stay alive, but he's also fighting it. There's another side story of Johnny has to deal with the high school jocks. One of them played by Philip Seymour Hoffman, and Philip Seymour Hoffman is the stereotypical dumb jock. He's like you ever read the old Archie comics? He's like Moose, the dumb jock. Johnny's got to deal with those. Yada 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 yada. Basically, that's it in a nutshell. Johnny eventually does take Missy to the prom. Johnny dies right then and there at the prom. That's not how the movie ends. The movie will end when I get to my negative part of the review, because that, honestly, surprisingly, is the only major negative thing I have to say. Yeah, I'm very surprised. I had fun watching My Boyfriend's Back. First off, like I said, I'll praise a lot of the acting. Andrew Lowry, who plays Johnny, very likable character, very sympathetic when you see him going through his trials of trying to win Missy over, plus not trying to eat his friends or eat people in general. Missy McLeod, her character, I didn't even care to find out the actress's name because she wasn't important. Edward Herrmann and the actress who plays his wife, they're Johnny's parents, they're hilarious. They're very good they're not playing dumb, but they're playing dumb, okay? They're obviously, they know what's going on, but they're going to keep their son around, and they're going to do whatever it takes to protect him from, the group of townspeople that want Johnny dead because they think he's an abomination. And that includes perhaps, stealing bodies from the morgue because Johnny has to eat flesh to stay around. Like I said, the Danny Zorn, who plays Eddie, the best friend, great comic relief. Harry Manfredini is not his score is not real big in this movie. Or if it is, there's only one scene that I really remember. It's when Johnny is digging himself out of the grave. And it is some creepy-ass fucking music. It's done really well. I love the way it is. And then as Johnny's digging up, the comedy here is actually really good. It's not grating, as you would think maybe a shitty 1993 Touchstone comedy would be. Because as Johnny's digging out of the grave, he meets the caretaker who's there, and he's fucking hilarious. And he tells Johnny that you can't leave the cemetery, or else you'll fall apart. Because obviously Johnny isn't the first person to do this. So yeah, like I said, the comedy's really great. When Johnny is seeing his doctors, there's this cheesy montage of the doctor, hitting Johnny in the knee to try to get a reflex. There's no movement. All that stuff is great. The reason why Johnny, to prove that the doctor is funny and he's kind of a quack, the reason why Johnny goes to the doctor is he's making out with Missy and she tries to nibble his ear and she pulls it off. So of course that freaks him out, and he goes to the doctor and the doctor says, "Oh, just super glue it back on, it'll be fine." So that's really, really funny. And then the doctor fucking sends him to Cloris Leachman, for help, because Cloris Leachman, I guess her husband came back from the dead and she knows, how to deal with this stuff. And it's great because even though Cloris Leachman's only in this movie for maybe 5 minutes, it's fucking Cloris Leachman. This woman is hilarious in anything you've seen her in. If you don't know who she is, go IMDb this chick. She is hilarious. She's the old lady who wants to make sandwiches in Bad Santa. She's Granny in the Beverly Hillbillies movie. But she's done so much stuff. Eventually, Philip Seymour Hoffman's character Chuck, he's chasing Johnny around the school and wants to kill him, and he accidentally kills himself, which was kind of a funny moment. So I won't spoil how that happens. And then eventually Johnny realized, I have to eat flesh to stay alive, so I'm going to eat Chuck. So he does eat Chuck. And then, he comes home, and this is what's great. I was talking about Johnny's parents. The scene where Johnny comes home, and his parents have kidnapped a little kid for Johnny to eat. And Johnny's like, "Mom, Dad, what the fuck are you doing? I can't do this." And they're like, basically, "Oh, Johnny, we just want to help. It'll be okay." And there's this little kid just sitting on the counter licking a lollipop, and Johnny's going, knowing that Johnny's going to eat him. That's actually very, very funny. There's a dinner scene where Johnny's family has invited Missy and her dad over. Her dad is played by J.O. Sanders. And J.O. Sanders is, you know what, if you needed an asshole in a 90s movie, you got J.O. Sanders. And he's not so much of an asshole here until later on. But he's not really an asshole, he's more of the overprotective father. Because, you know, everybody in the fucking town knows that Johnny's a zombie. And, you know, it's this awkward dinner scene. And Johnny and his mom go to the kitchen. And Johnny opens the fridge and this dead body falls out. And it's because Mom went to the morgue, stole a body for Johnny to eat. This ongoing joke is hilarious, but with Johnny's loving mother trying to do what she can to keep Johnny around, and it's great. I mentioned the kidnapped little child. That's actually Chuck's younger brother. So this group of townspeople come, one of them being Chuck's father. Another one is actually played by Edwin Neal, who was the hitchhiker in the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So there's another horror alum that's in this fucking movie. It just blew my mind. And they're there to rescue little Chuck, which is the little kid's name. And they shoot the shit out of Johnny, and, they blow him away. And, of course, Johnny is saying, ouch, that really hurt, stop it, which is funny. And then Mom, she pulls his shotgun out, and she acts like she's going to shoot them. They don't believe her. So she shoots one of her plants, and she basically cocks the shotgun. She says, you're next. Love this mother character. Now, eventually, Johnny's captured by the doctor. And he's strapped to the gurney, like this. And the doctor explains what he's going to do with his skin cells. And in between that, he looks out the window and he sees, the townspeople. And this is right out of fucking Frankenstein from the 30s. Because you see this shot up as we see the doctor looking out the window. And above him you see, the fucking rain clouds and everything. And as he's looking down at the mob, they got fucking torches, just like Frankenstein. And then they got this gigantic log that they're using to ram into the door to break it down. I really thought that was cute and funny and a great homage to it. Eventually, and that's a lot of the positives I'll go with this movie. Honestly, the negatives are very, very small. One of my negative parts in this movie, other than it being it's dumb, but it's a fun type of dumb. There's too many dream sequences in this movie, or fantasies. I could have done with maybe one, but there's like three. I mean, the first fantasy is fine. It's Johnny is, before he dies, he has a fantasy of Missy and him, or they're having sex in bed, and everybody's watching, and eventually she basically says your dick's too small. So, okay, fine. And that fit because it's, it's a teenager, a high school teenager fantasizing about, what would he really think if the girl he's loved forever was disappointed in bed with him. So that was funny. I mean, and then we go on, another dream sequence he has is when they're making out. His dick falls out of his pants. Lowbrow humor, but it would have been funny. Okay. But then by the third dream sequence where, Johnny's trying to deal with the fact that he's got to eat people to survive, and it's Chuck's dad tied up, and he's telling him to be a man. Wow, you ate my foot. Be a real man, eat my calf. That's some muscle. And eventually Johnny's eating his body, and it's just, disembodied head on a skeleton body. By then it was just really lame and stupid. And then Missy's over there in the corner, and she says, "Eat me," and it's retarded. I couldn't do that. Now, my biggest problem here is the ending. I honestly would have been happy if Johnny made it to the prom, they had their dance, and then he died, which is what I thought, how the movie's going to fucking end. But it didn't. Instead, Johnny wakes up, and he's not in heaven yet. But I think he's talking to St. Peter. The guy that wishes or helps you go into heaven. Basically, St. Peter saying, "Whoops, we fucked up. You weren't supposed to die then." Sends Johnny back. Alright, he sends Johnny back in time to when the actual robbery was happening. And he still gets shot, falls down, and instead of dying, though, he was wearing a locket. And the bullet hit him right in the locket. And this locket was what he wanted to give Missy, since fucking first grade. Missy falls in love with him, they go to the prom, the end. If you can read my chicken scratches, right there. Stupid ending. This was a fun movie. It was a cute movie. It was a cheesy movie. But, you know what? I don't think it deserved the sweet ending it got. Because I just took me out. And I'm just like, man, that fucking sucked. But, overall, surprisingly, Mel, I don't hate you for making me watch this movie. It was fun. It was worth at least one watch. If it's on in the background and I'm doing something, you know what, I wouldn't turn the channel. I might not sit down and watch the whole fucking thing again. But it was worth one watch. It was fun for what it was. Which wasn't much. But for what it was fun. So yeah. God, that's the beer talking. That's not my me remembering, having to watch my boyfriend's back. That's making me kind of burp like that. Overall, yes, I do have to say, Mel, you were right. It was worth one watch. My Boyfriend's Back, 1993. Check it out. So, thanks for watching. If you like what you see, please like the video. Please subscribe to my channel. Trying to get my channel to grow a little bit. Tell your friends about me. If they're like, hey, you know what? You ever see that movie, My Boyfriend's Back? No? Well, there's this fat bearded guy in his basement, that actually said it was a good movie. Or, what have you. And then check out my older films, or my older videos, So, in closing, I will say cheers. And Mel, to paraphrase Eddie, in response of you making me watch this, I will paraphrase Eddie from what he said in this film. Cheers. And then, yep, there's Mel. She's a dick, but I like her.